Well, welcome back, everyone. It's so good to have you all here. And like we said, it was a very intense first session, and now it is time for finally science fiction to come alive. I mean, like everyone, I have been crazy about robots since a child. When I would watch series like Johnny Soko and his flying robot on TV, and since then there have been countless movies and showcases on man and machine existing as one, like Avatar, Ready Player One, and even more. I'm really lost for words on how to introduce this genius of a person who has been able to do the impossible by making his own twin, and also have and I also have no clue whether it's actually him with us today or his twin who has joined us. But nevertheless, whoever it is, I'm sure that we are all ready for a treat. So let me not waste any more time and introduce Professor Hiroshi Ishiguro to everyone.
Thank you.
He is
Thank you.
currently Thank you, Professor Ishiguro. He's currently the professor of Department of Systems Innovation at the Osaka University and the director of Hiroshi Ishiguro Laboratories at the ATR Kyoto. His research interests are interactive robots and android science. He has published more than 300 papers in major journals and conferences. On the other hand, he has developed many interactive humanoids and androids called RoboV, Reply, Geminoid, Telenoid, Elfoid, Commu, and Erica. These reports have been reported by various media such as Discovery Channel, NHK, and BBC for more than 500 times. In 2011, he won the Osaka Cultural Award. In 2015, he received the prize for science and technology by the Minister of Education, Culture, Sports, Science and Technology. He was also awarded the Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum Knowledge Award in Dubai in 2015. It's an absolute honor to have you with us, Dr. Ishiguro. I leave the stage to you and let you mesmerize our audience with what you have to say now.
So thank you. They are very kind introductions. So let me start my presentation. I believe I have 30 minutes, and let me share the screen. Share the screen. I think which one window? I think I'm sharing the screen properly.
Yes, yes, we can
Okay.
see the screen. Yeah.
Okay. So my title is Interactive Robot and Our Future Societies. I'm a professor of Osaka University, but I'm also the visiting director of ATR, Hiroshi Ishiguro Laboratories, and I'm also the project manager for Moonshot. This is the biggest research project in Japan, and I'm also the thematic project producers for the World Explosion 2025 in Osaka. This is also the very important activity for me right now. So this is the my imagination. In the near futures, I think we need to have this kind of a human robot symbiotic society, especially in Japan. Our population is going down to the half of our current population. So, but as you know, we a little bit independent from other countries, and it is not so easy to invite the foreign people to Japan, right? So our solution is to use the robots more and to support people's life. Uh, and in order to do that, in order to realize that kind of a human robot symbiotic society, I have started my project, robot project in 2000, and I have created uh, these these robots. Then this is my first robot. The first one was looking the quite mechanic, and then I have improved this robot for more the human-like robots. Okay. Uh, mm, mm, okay. So so these robots, so the I have developed software looks like a human. It's a human-like robot. the question is, why do we need human-like robots, humanoid robots? So the answer is very simple. The human has a brain that recognizes human, and the ideal interface for human is a human, and therefore therefore the information made devices such as talking rice cookers should be at least partially human-like. And the conversely, to understand humans, very human-like robots, androids are needed. So this is a very important idea. And well, we are taking this kind of approach for developing the robot and understanding the human both. So we call it constructive science with intelligent systems. So past brain studies have found that the human intelligence comprises elements of memories and computation, the inference, learning, etc. The challenge is to identify the how these elements they can be put together for realizing human intelligence. Okay. So the constructive approach will reconstruct robot and android to model humans and use such robot and android to study human macro level functions. So if I simply say it, we just they develop the human-like robots based on the our previous knowledge and based on the technologies, right? And then if we can mimic the human macro level the functions with the robot, I think we think we can use that robot for deeply studying about the human macro level functions like consciousness or emotions. Right? So anyway, can you hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Hmm? Something wrong?
Yes, Dr. Ishiguro. No, we can all hear you fine.
It's fine.
Yes, yes, it's completely
Okay,
fine.
okay. So, um, well, what is the meta-level cognitive functions, right? So for the inner robotics, we focus on the mechanics, manipulators, and sensors, and image understanding and voice recognitions, right? These are very fundamental things and issues. But after this, we need to focus on the meta-level cognitive functions for the robot and humans both. So, for example, intelligence and embodiment and multimodal integration, intention, desires, and the consciousness and the social relationships, right? And intelligence. So we have uh, uh, right now we have pretty good technologies for the artificial intelligence, but the current artificial intelligence is totally different from the human intelligence. So we need to deeply study about the human intelligence after this. And then, the robot is going to have more flexible human-like bodies. And then, the robot is going to have own experience. And gather the data uh, the for making it the intelligent, right? So the body embodiment, the body properties is going to be very important after this. And multimodal integration, and basically we human use the multiple modalities, and robots and AI also need to have multimodal uh, the sensations and informations for understanding the external world and for understanding uh, the him or herself. I mean, the robot itself. And then the robot, we're going to expect to have autonomous robot near futures. So in order to have the autonomous robot, of course, we need to implement the intention and desire. Then once we could implement the intention and the desire to the robot, I think a robot, we may feel the consciousness through the interaction with the robot. And then, if we can feel the consciousness in the interaction with the robot can be our social partner. So and we can have good social relationships with the robot. So that is a possibility. And this is the roadmap of robot development in my laboratories. We are developing these interactive robots, and these robots are almost practical, and I think uh, well, we need to have this kind of a robots more, especially under the COVID-19 situation, right? The people cannot work in outside, but so the robot can support the people's activities in many ways. Okay, so intelligence and embodiment, multimodal integration, these are fundamentals. So once the yeah, we implement the intention desires, we believe a robot is going to be a very human-like. And that someday the robot can pass the multimodal Turing test. So, uh, what is a multimodal Turing test? Of course, we want to say that, we want to say that we want to develop the robot that can pass the total Turing test, but the total Turing test is almost impossible if we cannot distinguish the human or robot. Suppose we are talking with a robot, and the robot is is in front of us. That if we cannot distinguish which is which, so that means that robot they can pass a total Turing test. But we cannot use the same material as the humans for developing a robot, right? So we are using some metals, some silicon, right? So materials are totally different. Therefore, it's easy to distinguish human or robot, even if the robot looks very human-like. Okay? Um, our definition. Therefore, we have a little bit different definition about the total Turing test. We call it a multimodal Turing test. So um, you know, actually, the people they can interact with the Kyoto robot, right? And the people can feel the human likeness through the interactions with these robots. So if we cannot distinguish the two cases between the two cases, one is human operator is operating on this robot, and then the another case is the computer is controlling this robot. If we cannot distinguish the which is which, that means this robot, this uh, uh, AI function of the robot, they can pass the multimodal Turing test. Okay, this is our challenge. So, and then I wanna introduce the most advanced Android in my laboratory, and our purpose is was to implement the intention and the desire to the robot, and the human intelligence, human and the architectures for the intention desire is so complicated, and it's almost impossible to implement the human like and the architectures for the intention and the desire. But our the target is to build the adult Android, right? So we adult humans, usually we can recognize our desires, and our desire can decide the intention decide our behavior. So I think we can take this very simple structures of intention desire. Okay? And then, we have developed some other necessary the softwares for developing the very human-like robot. And then we have developed the interaction composers, and we have developed this kind of function to generate the lip movement, head movement from the voice. Okay, so we are not controlling the robot, right? And our AI program is making the lip movement, head movement, and gestures based on the voice. This is very convenient. And this is another function for the Android. So this Android is not recognized voice. But however, the Android uh, uh, can rephrase and can continue the conversation. Okay, so this kind of function about integration also. I think you could understand what happened here, right? So Android, sometimes the interlocutor and Android talks simultaneously, but in such case, Android will say, may I speak first, right? And then, we have implemented the personal and social desire to the Android. So we humans, we also have a personal and social desire. And we have they are tested several desire for the Android. And finally, we reach to this answer. And we have implemented the desired for building the relationships with others as the personal desire of the Android, and then we have implemented the desire for qualifying relationships with others as the social desire of the Android. Okay? And then we have that the system is so complicated; it consists of so many modules. Okay? And then the Android can cover the 150 the topics for the conversation. So our Android is, we need to give a particular situation a purpose for the Android. Of course, we cannot develop the general intelligence for the robot, general conversational intelligence to the robot. It's impossible. The, our Android situation is like this. Android is sitting in the lobby of our research institute, and having a chat with the visitors. Right. So usually, we cannot have a deep conversation with the visitors. Right. Therefore, if Android can talk about some daily things and some weathers and some something like that, right? So Android can have the good conversation with the visitors. So we have prepared 150 topics for the conversation and of the Android. Okay. And this is the Android. I believe this is the most human-like Android in the world, right? Um, and Android is speaking Japanese, but this Japanese voice is synthesized by a computer, and a computer controlling everything, right? So Android can have a more the large facial expressions, but we are careful showing uh, you know, um, the Android facial expressions, and, what I would say is. Our purpose is to develop a kind of a polite behavior for the Android. Therefore, we are avoiding to use the large facial expression. At the same time, and this is the internal parameter for the Android. The Android has a couple of parameters. One of the parameters is the movement. The other is the light. Android simulates its own mood, and at the same time, Android is uh, made interlocutors their mood, by analyzing the facial expressions and the conversational patterns. So red graph is the result of the analysis of interlocutors' mood, and the blue graph is own Android's own the mood. And same thing happens for the likeness. The Android is simulating the if Android likes this guy, and Android sometimes Android is guessing the if this guy likes the Android, right? And if Android considers and Android evaluates the the relationships between each other is getting better, the Android will propose to talk about the more deeper personal topics. Okay? I want to show you again. So this is a very natural composition. So, here, if we limit the expression of purpose, so we can have a very human like the answer. And that she is not Android. The Android is another activity. Sorry. So this is the Android, right? So and then we have invited 25 the subjects to evaluate the performance of this Android, and the five of them they say this Android is perfectly controlled by a human operator. No, it is not true. No, of course, the Android is controlled by a computer, but five of them, five of the 25 people, they considered this Android is operated by a human operator. That means that this Android they could pass the multimodal Turing test for the five people among the 25 people, and the 12 people from the 25 people they if they and they have a little bit they had yes a little bit about a doubt, but um, if they need to choose the one of the answers, Android is operated by a human operator, Android is controlled by computers. 12 people say they want to choose the answer that the Android is operated by human operators. So that this is the current level of Android human likeness. But after this, I think that we can extend the application area of this Android, and then the near futures, we may have uh, the Android partners in many places, especially in Japan, and they will support the our life in many ways. Okay? So, and one more, I want to use one more robot. Uh, the problem of the adult Android need to have adult level conversational functions, right? And therefore, we need to limit the situation and the purpose. But if we have the childlike Android, this, you know, the the Android, this child Android does not need to have adult level competency functions. The Android can easily ask a question to the people. So the next big the challenge is to develop a socially developmental robot, socially developmental Android. The Android is talking with many people and asking the question and getting a knowledge, right? So this is my canvas. My canvas, this robot moving around and trying to get the knowledge from people. Yeah. I believe I have another 10 minutes. Within the 10 minutes, I want to introduce my important current project. Um, Project for developing the avatars. Okay, so the Japanese government started the biggest research R&D project therefore toward 2050 after 30 years. What kind of a society, what kind of a technology we need to develop. So the Japanese government, uh, uh, you know, uh, uh, decided the goal and technology developmental goals. The for the 2050. By the 2050, you know, we realize the society in which people are free from the constraints of body, brain, the space, and the time. So this is the avatar. So if we have avatar, it's teleoperated robots, right? So that we can have this kind of the future societies. So we call it the avatar symbiotic society. So avatar symbiotic societies, um, our purpose is to realize the avatar symbiotic societies where everyone they can perform the active roles without constraint. This project aims to realize an avatar symbiotic society in which the cybernetic avatars allows everyone to perform the active social roles without constraints through the teleoperation of a multiple cybernetic avatars that can fully transmit the user's actions, intentions, and reactions in scenarios which future hospitality-rich dialogue. The user will be able to take part in various social activities, the work, education, the medical care, the daily life, etc. So by 2050, our lifestyle will have the dramatically changes, and we will have a greater freedom in our the choice of the locations and how we spend our time, and technological advances will have enhanced our abilities. So our goal is to develop the and implement the avatar symbiosis with a balanced society. This is the goal. Right? So let me go back to my previous works. In 1999, I have they proposed this very simple avatar robot in IROS, in a robotic conference, and then I have improved that robot and very much, and finally I have created my own copy, and I was using the my copy for giving lectures in a foreign country. This is very convenient. The near future, I think many people is going to use this kind of teleoperated robots avatars, especially in order to solve the problem of COVID-19. It's quite important to use, to prepare the various types of avatars and use them for the many purposes, the education, and work, and the medical and everyday activities. Okay? So, and anyone, including the elderly and people with disabilities, will be able to freely participate in various activities with the abilities beyond ordinary people, while expanding their physical, cognitive, and perceptual abilities using the large number of cybernetic avatars. So anyone will be able to work and study anytime, anywhere, minimize the commuting to work, and have plenty of free time. So we hope to develop that kind of a futures, and by using our technologies. Okay? And then, and of course, we need to prepare infrastructures, for using the many avatars. Okay? And the most important event is World Expo. Uh, World Expo. We're gonna have the World Expo in Osaka in 2025, and we're gonna use the many avatars at the expo. Uh, the important things is that we need to have sustainable the event for the next time. Even if we have COVID-19 again, we need to have an active event, active the world explosions in Osaka, right? So how we can do that? Of course, we have to use the physical and virtual. We need to prepare the physical and the virtual venues, and we need to use the many avatars. Everybody can join to this world explosions by using avatars, and I think and then we can appear with our technologies, especially the robots, the technologies. So I hope, you come to see our activities in Japan in 2025. Just quickly, they show you what kind of demonstrations and what kind of exhibition we're gonna have, right? So, and actually, we humans expanding the life in many ways, right? So we want to use the more technologies, robot technologies for supporting the handicapped people, and we're gonna use and robot technologies for the medical surgeries, right? So, and on the other hand, in the robot, is going to be more human-like. So I hope to show you the most advanced robot technologies and integrated with humans in our explosions. Okay, and so and then we're gonna exhibit our future life, but the like this, right? So we're gonna have a kind of a short uh, uh, the drama-like explosions, maybe yeah, you know, the 5 or 6 scenes, right? Uh, and everybody can easily understand what happened, futures, right? So, um, now this is the overview of my pavilion. I'm a thematic producer of this world explosions. I'm gonna build my own pavilion, and then I wanna show exhibit our future life you know in, with the robot technologies. Okay? And then and sometimes we're gonna use many avatars. Right? In order to invite the people from the foreign countries. And after this world explosions, I hope to have the human robot symbiotic society, right? But the important thing in the society, and of course we have sustainable, safe, and convenient societies by using robot technology. But at the same time, we're going to have many chances to think about humans. So robot is the mirror to reflect the humanity. Now, if we develop the very human-like the robots, same times we want to have a chance deeply and think about what is the emotion, what is the consciousness, what is the human presence, the human-like presence. Okay, so and by watching the my very human-like android, I believe you have the same ideas. You considered I believe you considered about the humans, right, by watching the my android. So that is the meaning to develop the robot society, human robot symbiotic society in your future. Thank you for your attention. I think it's time to stop to speak, and I want to accept your questions.
Thank you, Dr. Ishiguro. You could stop the presentation. Yes. Thank you, Dr. Ishiguro. I mean, such an inspiring talk right there, and I mean, it's so much good to say and envision a future, at least in the virtual world, when there are no disabilities and when people have unlimited access to whatever they want to do. I mean, what a brilliant and a thoughtful vision right there. And I mean, I'm lost for words, like I said earlier. I mean, it's such a privilege to see this. Uh, so, without much ado, let's come to some of the questions, Dr. Ishiguro. There are pretty much the questions bank is flooded with them. So let's start picking one. This is by Juana Lazar, who's asking, do you foresee avatars being entirely controlled by their human original? If not, who do you think should be held responsible for the avatar's actions? This is the
I
question on
see.
the stage.
I see. Our idea is to develop the hybrid avatars, right? That is quite important. If we need to control the avatars by the perfectly, it's quite troublesome, right? And you know, and ideally, if we can operate more than 10 avatars simultaneously, the I think the how can I say that we can they enhance our activity very much, right? So that is power over technology and power over avatars, right?
True.
And then, but at the same time, so we need to consider about the responsibility to control the avatar, right? So the same, same as the autopilot system of a vehicle, right? So that is a very important, but interesting the issues we need to carefully consider. Basically, so we're gonna have an insurance to use the avatar, and the same as the vehicle, right? So because of insurance, we can, we can drive the car even if it is autonomous driving system, right? So we're gonna have the same the ideas for the avatars. We're gonna have a special insurance for using the avatars, but and always, there we need to think about if we can take the responsibilities. And more, this kind of discussions is quite fundamental, right? So how we can,
True, true.
yeah, distinguish the autonomous systems and the human systems. But um, um, I think we're gonna have a more deeper understanding about the humanity through this kind of discussions. So that is a more important things in our futures. Okay. So anyway, so by using avatars, we can have a more deeper knowledge about humans.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you so much for that. Coming to the next question. This is by Alex Wood, who wants to understand now what are the most popular topics of conversation when humans talk to your robots? How long do these conversations last for? What are they all about?
Okay, so we have prepared 150 topics, and usually that is the first conversations with the robot for the visitors, right? Therefore, they want to start with quite normal topics, like they want to ask the name each other's, and they want to ask the someone just daily things, weather, and where you come from, or something like that, right? So,
True.
but if they continue their conversation, actually, our Android can continue the conversations around the 5 or 10 minutes, maybe, and then finally, almost all people they ask about the Android, some personal the things, right? What is your favorite things, and what is your favorite the people, or something like that, right? And people always asking about the human relationships, right? Why we wanna interact with humans, the other peoples, right? So we wanna establish the relationships with others. So that is the purpose of our conversation. So they will do the same things with the Android. The Android, I believe our Android is human like enough. So
Yeah, yeah.
everybody
True.
enjoys your conversation with Android, and try to
I'm
have
sure.
good human relationships with Android.
I'm sure. I'm sure. Uh, Now the next question is about. Just a minute while I scroll it. There are so many popping up. Okay. This is again from Wana. With realistic androids such as Ibuki, which you just showed, have you found that people are more comfortable with clearly seeing that he's an android, such as seeing the back of the head, as seen in your video, or seeing as a human, such as covering up at the back of the head? I mean, it's perception of people, right? How do they react?
Okay, okay. So the basically I think it depends on the people, but the child appearance is different from the other robots. So let me talk about the first the experience with the very human-like android and the non-human like robots, right? For example, autism kids and elderly, they prefer to interact with a robot-like robot, right? They don't like to interact with a very human-like robot, right? And people need to feel a kind of a pressure from the robot, right? Therefore, they prefer to interact with the acute robot, and therefore, but the child appearance is very special for the everybody, right? We have some innate functions to protect the child, right? Therefore, everybody can be very kind, even if the robot has the mechanical head, right? So
Yeah.
if we see the inside of a school, they don't care so much about that, right? The most important thing is that our Android, the child Android is not human, okay? So but the Android has a very clear the child face, okay? So we couldn't they have I didn't like to have an uncanny robot. So what is uncanny robot? If the robot it's difficult to distinguish the human or robot. So the robot is going to be a very uncanny, right? Therefore,
Yeah.
and I gave mechanical bodies, mechanical head, but the face is the child. Therefore, I think we could have a good balance, right? Everybody going to be a very kind for the child, but it's a robot. It's clear, right? So everybody can see the mechanical head, the mechanical body, right? So, and
True.
I'm trying to take the both advantages as a robot, and that we can avoid the uncanny bodies, and advantage as the child. Everybody going to be a kind. Right?
Yeah, really, really, really interesting concept there.
Mm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Uh, Now, this one is a little bit tricky. Comes from one of our esteemed members, VSR. Now, if humans could marry androids
Mm.
or the Geminoids, there will be no new births, and will there be any new births, or and that means the journey. Will there be a journey towards human extinction? Any thoughts on those things?
Johnny, what do you mean that?
I mean, if there are no births, new births happening, if humans are marrying a robot, if
Mm.
there is no reproduction there, will
Yeah.
will we see? I mean, will we ever see human extinction there? I mean, humans not
Oh,
existing in the future.
yeah, okay, okay. So, it's quite difficult to answer that question, but I think that is one of the choice, right? So in the near futures, right? So, okay, so to think about what happened after the 1,000 years, not the 100 years, right? The 1,000 years, right? So we may replace our body with the machine more and more, right? And
True.
we may uploading our brain activity onto the computers, right? And then we're gonna have another way of reproduction, right? So we're gonna just
Yeah.
of the robot as a kind of our baby, our copy, right? So not for everybody, all right. So but
True.
the some of them, some people they may will do that kind of things. That is another possibility. That is another way of human evolutions, right? So look
True.
at the the vacuum. Vacuum is it's artificial, right? Without vacuum, we cannot survive in this world anymore. So that means the human is tightly coupled with the technologies. Without the technologies, that we cannot survive anymore, right? So technology is a way of human evolution, right? That is the difference from other animals, right? So robot
True.
technology is also the technology, that we may accept the more advanced robot technology in the futures, and we may have a kind of a robot baby or something. So that is my guess.
Couldn't agree more. Couldn't agree more. We have 5 minutes more to go. Dr. Hiroshi will take a couple of more questions. Now, like anything has positives and negatives, right? I mean, for example, nuclear energy as such, can be used positively or negatively as an energy plant or like nuclear missile. What do you think are the positives and the negatives of Android avatars in your vision of 2050?
I see, I see. I hope to have negative applications of robots, right? And I hope the robot is different from the nuclear technologies because the we already accepting the robot technologies for supporting handicapped people, right? Well, if we use the robot technology for the military purpose, of course, that is seriously negative. That causes a seriously negative result. But in Japan, we cannot have a military, so that and we are very lucky in Japan, I think, right? Of course, that is a kind of a demerit to protect our countries, but we cannot develop the weapons with the robot technology. Right? So therefore, usually Japanese robotics researchers, we don't care so much. We don't worry about the negative application of robots in Japan. But the United States, of course, my friend, I have many friends in the United States.
I'm
They
sure.
are seriously thinking about the negative use of robot technology.
True, and I think it's a perception, seen in movies, the way the movies are made, wherein, it's always very scary when you look at robots in the future, whether humans and robots will compete or whether they'll coexist together. But
Mhm.
but tell me something, Dr. Hiroshi. When you talk about privacy, I mean,
Mhm.
we talk about privacy
Mhm.
so much in our daily lives now, and when you have these robots or androids impersonating us and roaming around, like us, well,
Mhm.
who is addressing the ethical issues, or are there any ethical issues there, or privacy challenges?
Yeah.
How do we tackle that?
The actually the robot and okay. So which is we can trust more human or robot, right? So people always watching your activities. Robot is watching your activities. So can you trust the people more than the robot? Actually, the robot can follow the ethical rules perfectly, but human always we break the ethical rules and ethics, right? In a society, it's always human causing the problem, right? So my guess is like this, if we develop the polite, and how can I say the hospitality, the good hospitality robots in the
True.
societies, the robot will lead the human moral, right? Because the robot, the never do the bad things, right? So always, doing the good things. So the which is more trustable, the ticketing machines or human shopkeepers, the vending machine, right? So everybody trusts the vending machine, the ticketing machine, right? Right. So
Yeah, yeah. True.
so
I'm sure they're not going to become like the Transformers movie where vending machines and become evil robots, and everything mechanical starts becoming evil. I think you're
but
right. It'll
it is
depend a
not.
lot on.
It is not true. Actually, the computers and robots can trust very much. We are trusting them very much, right? Always
True,
human is doing bad things.
true. So is there anything called as robot selfishness, or something around that? Any term on that?
Selfishness on a robot, that is important for having the good human relationships, right? So if we want to have a more exciting relationship with the robot, we want to give a kind of a selfishness to the robot, right? Then the robot is
True.
going to be independent, and we may feel the more strong consciousness through the interaction with the robot. But of course, in such case, we need to carefully control the robot intention and desires. We cannot give the bad intention desire to the robot, right? So and that is the also the another interesting the issues for discussing, right? So the what is the selfishness? What is the best balance selfishness and the
True.
some social behavior, right? So we need to design the robot, but at the same times we need to think about the human selfishness and human societies. So robot again, I will say the robot is a mirror to reflect the humanity and the human societies. We can learn many things by creating a robot.
Yeah. True. I think with that, Dr. Hiroshi, we have come to the end of this session, and I think we are flooded with the kind of comments and from people everywhere who joined us from, saying that this is really a unique session. They've never heard or seen something like this before, and apart from movies, and I think it has been a privilege and honor to have you. Now, I would request my colleague Anita to come back on screen and talk about what we have in store.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ishiguro, for giving us a glimpse of a very futuristic world and for removing some of our fears associated with coexisting with robots. We ran a poll, and I would like to flash it on screen
Yes.
and show you the results that came up.
Well,
So we asked, what is your take on a society where we will coexist with robots? And most of the people said that they're very excited. They think we are already there.
I
Yeah.
see, I see.
So while the top answer is that people are wary and this needs more thought, the people that are excited and those that feel that this will build better efficiency and convenience are very close. So I
Mhm.
think about 5 years back this would have been different. It's very heartening to see how people are embracing the future that's coming at us. But thank you so much, Dr. Ishiguro, for speaking
Yeah,
with us.
welcome. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dr. Ishiguro. We'll be starting the next session soon. I mean, right after this session ends, and we'll be playing a movie on Indian engineering. So we would request all of you to stay back and not leave the screen again. We'll be back within, say, a minute.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Ishiguro. Thank you so much.